Welcome back. Volunteers will start up again in the next month saluting our World War II and Korean War veterans by flying them to Washington, D.C. to visit the National War Memorials. Over the past 3 years, nearly 200 veterans from here in the North Country have taken part in the honor flights, and this year there are 5 more in the works to give our special war heroes a trip to remember. At the crack of dawn, more than 100 motorcycles rumbled onto the oval of the old air base, joining a chorus of wails from bagpipes. And the ever-familiar sound of reveille.
So thank you all for being here. Thank you. Thank you all.
North Country Honor Flight not only organizes this send-off and flag ceremony at the Veterans Memorial here on the Oval, but escorts each and every one of these vets onto a bus for a ride to the Plattsburgh Airport in grand style, as dozens of first responders and well-wishers line the route.
Thank you for being our heroes.
And one by one, those heroes are introduced to another huge crowd that packs into the airport terminal.
This is the first one that I got to come and see, and what an experience.
For many, like Jennifer Lord, who works with veterans at the American Legion Post in West Plattsburgh, it was an incredibly moving experience.
It just makes you cry. It just makes your heart feel amazing. And to watch the whole convoy of them going by, it just was really emotional, and it's great to see that for our vets.
Outside the fence, Lucinda LaFountain and her granddaughter, Selena Kelly, gather with others to wave to the vets as their flight gets a special send-off from the airport crew before taking off for what will be a memorable day visiting the memorials in Washington, including Arlington National Cemetery and the Tomb of the Unknown, and the newest national monument dedicated to the veterans and heroes of World War II. Barrie Finnegan is the director of the North Country Honor Flight. Welcome, nice to have you here.
Thank you, Tom.
These honor flights started up just within the past couple of years after the opening of the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. about a decade ago.
Correct. The World War II Memorial opened in 2004, and at that time the average age of a World War II vet was already into his 80s. So somebody come up with the idea, let's get a group together and round up these World War II vets and get them down to the memorial. It was built in their honor. They deserve a chance to see that.
This is an idea that has spread across the country now.
There's 140 hubs across the country. It's quite active. I wouldn't dare quote all the numbers, but there's been a lot of veterans sent through all the hubs. We are probably one of the smallest in the country.
So you give World War II veterans the VIP treatment. You fly them to the memorial, the new World War II memorial, to see that, and also a tour of some of the other national monuments in Washington.
Yeah. Our standard is we go from the memorial. If we have any Korean War veterans on board, then they end up going down to the Korean Veterans Memorial also, which is very moving. From there, we head up to the Arlington Cemetery, which seems to catch all the veterans' eyes. When they go by and see those rows upon rows, it's very touching for them. And we go up to the changing of the guard, which is a very solemn event also. It's rather quiet at that point. They all appreciate being there, and of course the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is just something that they've all been related to one way or another. They know what that's there for, and they really appreciate it.
Both of your parents served in World War II.
Yeah, my father was a World War II veteran over in China and Burma. Unfortunately, he passed away just before this whole program got underway. I wish that wouldn't have happened. My first time that I got to an honor flight and saw it, I knew I had to get involved right off. It was shortly before when my father passed away, and my mother had passed away like 2 months before I saw that first honor flight. My mother was a World War II veteran from the Canadian Army. So very, very military presence in my family. My brother was in the Army, And my son had just got home from Afghanistan. So military was strong through my blood at that point, and I knew I had to get involved. It was something I saw, and I still regret that my parents never got a chance to go, but I said at that point that I'll do everything I can to make sure nobody else's parents miss out on this opportunity.
And now you and volunteers here are making that happen, so you're planning on several flights this year.
Correct. We got 4 flights scheduled this year. May 14th is our first flight, and it's going to happen rather quick early. June 4th is our second flight, and then June 18th. So we got 3 flights rather close together, and then we get a little break until September 10th.
How many veterans have you flown now over the past 3 years?
So far, 198 veterans have gone out of our side. We did send 1 flight out of Burlington. We helped organize it. We don't consider it ours. Unfortunately, nobody jumped on board to develop the Vermont Honor Flight. So we're trying to help out a little bit, and if we get them from Vermont, we will take them with us.
So 198 over 3 years, and most of them World War II vets?
I'd say pretty close to 40 were Korean vets, so we're around 158 to 160 World War II vets.
And are you constantly looking for World War II vets primarily to, first and foremost, they go right to the front of the line if you can find them and they're willing to go?
Yes, and willing to go is the problem. We've got a list of about 20 World War II vets that we've been talking to and working on. Some just don't want to go. It brings up bad memories, and we respect that. Others are just not sure of it. Our worst fear is that they would miss out on this opportunity because they don't fully understand it. And that's where a family member or a friend comes in real handy, because they can guide them through the process and make them understand that this is for you and you deserve it, you've earned it. Please come and be a part of it.
And for those who go, what kind of experience is this for them?
We've had a lot of, we've never had an unhappy customer. It ranges from the best day of my life. Some of these guys are still married after 70 years. If their wife is still here, they'll tell you it's the second best day of their life.
The highlight of the day for many, of course, is getting to the memorial and seeing that, and most experiencing it for the first time in their lives, I would imagine.
Correct.
So after they've seen the monuments and they've had a dinner in their honor, on the way back home, on the flight home, there's one extra special touch where they're given a packet.
During the war, of course, with no cell phones or no way of communication, mail call was the only way you could hear anything or send anything to a family member, and sometimes that was months in between. So whenever they hear the words mail call, it's very significant to them. It brings back a rush of emotions, and we do a mail call. Well, without their knowledge, we contact family members and we let as many people know as we can that they're on this flight, and if you'd like to send a piece of mail thanking them for their service or congratulating them on the day, then they send it. And boy, people get involved in this. Not only the family members, but there's many schools that get involved. We have different classes from different schools. I'd say on the average, each person gets about 60 to 70 pieces of mail.
Wow.
And it's treasured.
What's that mean?
They keep that, and it's a treasured memento the rest of their lives.
And then when they get back to the airport, there's a nice tradition that started a couple of years ago that's now continuing. Seton high school students, junior high and high school students, are there to greet the veterans at the airport with personalized signs welcoming them back.
They do an amazing job. They started that in September of 2014, and they've been to every flight since then. And every veteran that goes, when he gets off that bus, there's a person there holding up a sign thanking them for their service. And right from the start, not only did they see the signs, and the veterans appreciate that, but then they go up and they give the signs to these veterans after they get off the bus. And they become treasured mementos for those guys.
You're planning to do these flights as long as you can find veterans to go?
They're still out there. It's the people that just need to ask the question. A lot of times we found they're sitting next to people in church. We've had people cross them in the supermarket. Usually the hats are pretty distinctive, and if it says World War II vet, we've got a lot of people out there that know enough to stop those people and ask the question.
Because you really don't have records. You have no idea of really knowing how many are living up here in the North Country.
Steve Bowman has done everything possible that he could do.
And Steve Bowman is with the Clinton County Veteran Services.
Correct. And he's given us everybody that's come across his path. The people we can't reach are the ones that have never gone to the Veteran Service for any involvement at all. So there's no record of them, there's no way to find them. So right now we're relying on word of mouth, and if anybody knows of any and can help us locate them, just give us a name and a number, and we'll do our best to get them on a flight.